Welcome into the Steelers Talk Mailbag. I am your host, Jack Sperry, and I love these segments that we get to do every week because I get to have that two-way conversation, get to hear your guys' voices here on the channel, and I can address the things that you guys have questions about. All right, so before we get into the questions this week, make sure you click that subscribe button and join us every single Wednesday and every single Friday for our Steelers Talk live shows every Friday or Thursday. I mean, we're filming this on a Thursday this week. We do these mailbags where you guys have an opportunity to get on the show. So if you want a chance to get on next week's mailbag, make sure you click that subscribe button and join us on our live show next week. Okay, now we get to our first question from Omar's Burner. He says, now hear me out. If Payton Wilson can play edge rusher, which I believe he did in college and got a Marcus Golden type, not totally opposed. Marcus Golden is a lot bigger than Payton Wilson. Wilson's more of an inside guy. That's what he played there at NC State. I mean, he blitzed a lot, and he's very experienced and very good blitzer. But I'm not sure if he's best suited to be a rotational edge rusher type. I think that Wilson's going to be used on the inside. He's really good in pass coverage. Could be wrong. I guess we'll see. But I think Payton Wilson's going to be more of an inside guy moving forward. Then we got one from another Black Diamond here, $10 super chat from CWK. It says, if the Steelers trade Alex Highsmith for Brandon Aiyuk, who would take Highsmith's spot on defense? Probably Nick Herbig at this point. If they trade Highsmith and they don't get an edge rusher back, they'd probably have to sign a guy like Marcus Golden or Emmanuel Ogbah or somebody along those lines in free agency. That's not something I really want to do. Not really all that interested in trading Highsmith, if I'm being honest. Then we got one from Green Right X. Sounds like that Davante Adams might be traded at some point this year. Any chance the Steelers could land him? I don't think so. I've seen some stuff like, Adams might get traded and then the Steelers would be interested. I'm sure the Steelers would be interested, but I think the Jets would be even more interested, right? And that's where Adams probably wants to go. Now, will the Raiders trade him to Las Vegas or to New York? I don't know, especially if they're really good this year to start the season. But I think Adams will at least start the year on the Raiders, and he might get traded at the trade deadline. I guess we'll have to see. And if the Steelers still need a wide receiver, who knows what could happen at that point. Now, you be the GM. Let me know down there in the comments section. Would you trade a first-round pick for Davante Adams? Type A if you'd accept it, or type D if you would decline that trade offer. This will be the pinned comment on today's show. So YouTube's going to throw you an ad break here in just a couple of seconds. And when that happens, take advantage of that time. But let me know what you would do. Gold Club member Damian Roy coming in here with a $5 super chat says, go get Terry. Trust me on this. He's a dog. Man, Damian, he's in the Washington area. I believe he works at FedEx Field Security, I believe. So Damian knows that Terry McLaurin's a dog, and he is, man. He's had some really bad quarterback play, but if you pair him up with Russell Wilson, I think he'd probably be a top 10 receiver in football. If the Washington Commanders make him available, which I highly doubt, I would be all over this. But most likely, I think the Commanders are going to want to hold on to Scary Terry. Then we got on from Travis Odell. Says, if Russell Wilson has an average season with the Pittsburgh Steelers, sign him to extension or go a different direction. So average season. So what's an average season? What's the Steelers' record? Do they make the playoffs? Do like 9 and 8, 10 and 7? Is that an average season though? I feel like an average season is 9 and 8. And if you're 9 and 8, I mean it would depend on the context. But if you have an opportunity to upgrade next offseason, I would probably replace him if I could, if he was just having an average season. But if the team's winning with Russell Wilson, if he's performing in the clutch, this team gets to the playoffs and wins a playoff game, I mean, I don't think you can replace him. So it kind of depends on how the season finishes, in my opinion. Then we got one from Kevin Reed, who says, what do you think about a second-round pick, James Daniels, DeMarvin Leal, and Quez Watkins for Aiyuk? So Steelers just signed Quez Watkins, so I don't think they can trade him. Not sure what the rule is on that, Coop.
Yeah, I don't think he's eligible unless it's like some sort of guaranteed contract. I'm not exactly sure.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not sure if you can trade players you just signed. So I think that the only really receiver that they could really trade, that they would consider trading, is Calvin Austin. And, I'd be fine if you take out Quez and you put in Calvin Austin in there. I think that I would do that deal, but with the 49ers, I'm not too sure. I mean, will anybody want DeMarvin Leal? I mean, the brother probably stinks, right? So probably take him out of the deal. But that's certainly a deal I would do. A second rounder, James Daniels and Calvin Austin III. I think that's a pretty fair offer. I hope the 49ers would take that. So make sure you guys click that subscribe button if you haven't already. If you're enjoying our content, we got daily videos on the Steelers every single day, especially once we get to training camp. We're going to be getting you guys daily takeaways from practice. So if you want that insider knowledge, make sure you click that subscribe button. Breaking news coverage, if they trade for Brandon Aiyuk, whatever the case may be, we're going to be right here on the show. Weekly live shows every Wednesday and Friday starting at 4:30 p.m. Eastern. It's all 100% free, so join the over 55,000 Steelers fans already subscribed to Steelers Talk today. Okay, now let's go to Keenan's question here. It says, what's the chance we win the AFC North? If I had to put a question on it or a percentage on it, I'd probably give it, probably put around a 30% shot on it. I mean, I think it's pretty good. I mean, obviously with 4 teams split up into 4 ways, it's 25%. It's a very competitive division. But I think the Steelers, I think we all know that they take the Ravens' lunch money. So, I mean, if they take care of business against them, they take care of their Browns games, which they should win both this year. They are the better team, in my opinion. You're in a good spot in the division. So I think that there's a decent shot that the Steelers could walk away with the AFC North Championship, but there are other good teams in here, and Russell Wilson does need to perform to win this crown. Now, we got one from Hunter Aboden here. He says, any chance Justin Simmons could still be in play for us? I don't think so. And the reason why, and I understand why Steelers fans would want to bring in Justin Simmons, but if they bring him in, he's going to be a rotational guy. And he's going to be kind of in the Davante KZ spot if they bring him in. And I don't think Simmons wants to be a rotational piece. He wants to be an every down player. He wants to be a true free safety. And the Steelers want to use Minkah Fitzpatrick as that true free safety. So I think people say, oh, Simmons is really good, Minkah's really good, let's put him on the same team. But they play the same position, right? So I'm not sure how much sense it would make to bring in Justin Simmons, who pretty much plays the same exact spot as Minkah Fitzpatrick. I don't think Simmons would want to be a rotational guy. So where will Justin Simmons sign this offseason? Predict it for me down there in the comments section. There's lots of teams out there that could use safety help. I don't think it's going to be the Steelers, but let me know what you guys think down there in the comments. And we got more questions to come here, but make sure you click that thumbs up icon if you are a Steelers Talk Real one. The real ones know that clicking that thumbs up icon boosts us in the YouTube algorithm. It pushes our videos out to other Steelers fans like yourselves. So make sure you click that thumbs up icon to help us out. Okay, now we got one from Christian Andujar, who, by the way, this is the debut of his brand new Super Chat sticker here for Black Diamond Club. Says, okay, my opinion on this Adams and Aiyuk trade is goofy. Why would Aiyuk go to a bad team? And Adams is clearly struggling over there as well. This team isn't happening. This trade isn't happening. What you think, Jack? So he's talking about the report that the 49ers and Raiders might swap Brandon Aiyuk and Davante Adams. And honestly, man, I don't think it's going to happen. Like I said, I think the Raiders want Davante Adams on their team to start the year. And I think that by the time that they end up potentially dealing him at the trade deadline, Aiyuk is probably already going to be traded. So not sure if this is going to be something that's credible. I don't see this happening is the answer to that question, Christian. Then we got one from Edgar Castillo. It says, if the Steelers make no more moves, how many wins do you think this roster will get? So, I mean, obviously, wide receiver is kind of the biggest hole on this team, but you do have some players that could rise up the ranks. I think at this point, the Steelers got much better at quarterback, in my opinion. They got better on the offensive line. Their defense will be more healthy. Jaylen Warren is going to have a really good season this year. I think that they're a better football team, especially if they can stay healthy this year. I would say they get back to at least 10 wins, and they could get up to 13. My official prediction would probably be 11 wins this year. So take a guess for me down there in the comments section. What will the Steelers' record be this year? 10 wins, 11 wins? Will they underperform? Will they overperform? Let me know what you guys are thinking down there in the comments section. That'll be it for this week's Mailbag, guys. Thank you to everybody that watched our live show this week and got questions on the show. Make sure you click that subscribe button and join us live every Wednesday and Friday to get your voice right here on Steelers Talk.